Recently, BNN was able to secure an exclusive interview with Chester Paterson of the Brave Cap Group. The following is a recording of that interview. Please enjoy.
I am the cap actor for Brave Collective. My role in the Alliance is to manage applications to the cap group, make sure we keep a certain level of OPSEC to a certain extent. I manage fittings as well as general operations, way of going at operations and way of operating with caps. And I also take care of FCing most of the cap fleets and training alternate cap FCs.
So, what kind of engagements are you used to, engaging in?
Recently, we had a lot of, obviously, engagement with Pandemic Legion and to a certain extent NC when it started showing up as well. Most of the engagements happened in order to fight around objectives, which is usually what caps are used for. They're rarely used as a fun thing. Well, they are too sometimes, but mostly used around operations, and they usually fight alongside battleship needs because of their need for support.
So, how do players join? And what skills do you require for people joining?
The first thing we ask people is motivation and willingness to learn, because there's a lot to learn about capital ships. So that's the first thing that I sort of expect people to bring. Apart from that, what is expected from people is to have the appropriate skills to fly a capital of any type, whether it be a carrier, fax, force auxiliary, or a dreadnought. And to currently own a capital, to have one in the process of being manufactured. I'm trying to avoid clutter in the channel, and people who do not currently own a capital, who are not ready yet skill-wise to own a capital, are not accepted. The other thing, you can find all the skill plans directly on the wiki. They're pretty accessible. You can also find them on the forums if you so desire. The other thing that people have to do to join is there's two things that they need to do. The first one is fill a Google Doc, and in order to give all the information regarding what they can fly, as well as the API keys, which I use to check for potential spies, I guess, to a certain extent, and make sure people are genuine. And then after the Google Doc, they have to apply to the core group in the Brave core services. This gives them access to the pings, as well as the channels and the comms.
And rolling back a little, do you make your own caps, or do you buy them and import them from JITA or whatever?
So as far as cap production is concerned, we have local producers. The most prolific cap producer at the moment is Zensha Industries, which builds a lot of things for Brave in general, but they're also the main cap producer. We also have individual producers, so most of the time acquiring a cap is made by putting out an order to Zensha. As far as modules are concerned, Brave has doctrine fittings for capitals, as we have doctrine fittings for subcaps. And all the necessary modules on those doctrine fits are actually manufactured locally as well. So when people try to build a cap, I strongly suggest they turn to the local market to sort of encourage people to continue manufacture locally.
Well, manufacture local is always good. And of course, when you eventually lose caps, how does the group deal with that?
So yeah, we already lost a handful of caps actually. They're pretty much almost in every operation we're expected to lose some.
Yeah, sure everyone heard about that.
They are, as far as people who are part of the capital group, capital ships are SRP'd under StratOp SRP. That means that someone who drops a cap under cap FC during its strat op is eligible for SRP. Currently, caps are around 3 billion fitted, 3 billion-esque for a cap. You tend to recover about a billion two through insurance, in-game insurance, which is pretty good for capital ships. And Brave covers the other part of the SRP, which is around 1.5 billion. So usually you get pretty much the whole entire cost of the cap covered through SRP. I actually do SRP requests, and I'm the one who sort of validates SRP requests, and the only thing that is expected from people to be fitted according to doctrine and have all the refeats in their ships. And from that point on, they will always get SRP.
Okay, just a few more questions to go. Well, what are your plans for the future?
Well, I'm actually pretty satisfied with the growth of the cap group. I really believe that we've made some good progress and that our numbers are starting to look good. And what I want to do right now, and the next progress is that in Brave we have a lot of new players. People tend to train their capital ships on their main account, which can be inconvenient in many different ways as far as cap warfare is concerned. So a current objective is to try and have people train capital ships on their alts, or at least have people trained sub-alts that they can use to join the sub-cap fleets. The second goal, I think, is just to keep on building and to keep people being interested in capitals. Brave has a history of having a certain trouble retaining high SP players because we're first and foremost directed towards new players, but we also want to keep high-level players, high SP players inside of Brave because they bring a lot of experience to people. And I think Capitals is one of the ways we can keep in and interested and involved in Brave. So I just want to keep growing the numbers. And obviously owning Capitals is also giving a lot of power to Brave. Capital powers in the game politically are important now. It's important for us to keep building a capital force.
My final question for the evening is, what is Brave's favorite caps? What factions do you prefer?
Okay, it's always an inner discussion about the different preferences of people. Brave at the moment is running shield caps. So naturally, as far as carriers and faxes, people tend to go towards Minmatar and Kildare capitals. Dreads are a bit of a more personal thing because they usually in Siege don't receive reps. So it's actually Brave has no preferred type. I think it's up to everyone's preference, and you could see there's a lot of debate about what's the favorite. As far as I'm concerned, I'm all for the Revelation in terms of Dreadnoughts. I think it's the best looking and the most efficient one at the moment.
Well, I thank you for setting aside your important time to come talk to BNN.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm happy we can talk about caps because the meme Brev has no caps is not true anymore, and I'm always happy to see more apply and join in.
What are you talking about? We don't have any caps.
That's what I'm talking about.